Okay, I think there's a lot of people joined this morning from around the world. So good morning to those of you on the West Coast, good afternoon to those on the East Coast, and good day if you're joining somewhere else in the world. So this morning's webinar is 6 reasons why your brand needs on-demand products. My name's Alistair Mylchreest and I'm the US Platform Sales Director for Custom Gateway, and we're a part of the Kornit Digital family now. So welcome everybody, and I'm looking forward to today's session. Okay. So in the left-hand side of the webinar, you'll see a Q&A box. And at the end of my presentation, which will take about 15 to 20 minutes, I'll be taking questions at the end. So as the webinar goes on, please feel free to pop your questions in the chat, and I'll do my very best to answer all the questions afterwards. So let's begin. On-demand products explained. So it's very simple. Products are only produced once, ordered by the customer. On-demand products allow us to maintain a catalogue of products with no physical stock, and we can work with existing systems. And we're going to delve right into this today. So why should your brand choose on-demand? Well, firstly, it's your easy route to global fulfillment. The on-demand business model can be enabled incredibly easily using a network of specialist suppliers, the global fulfillment network. Throughout the whole world, we have a collection of not just Kornit fulfillers, but other fulfillers as well. Now, on-demand in COVID-19 became a game changer. And sometimes I feel a bit guilty because our business boomed throughout the pandemic. But the pandemic has separated market players, illustrating the fragility of supply chains and how demand can change overnight. We saw a real acceleration for on-demand. It was no longer becoming a niche alternative, and now in some cases can be a mainstream solution. On-demand might not necessarily replace your entire business model and your buying practices, but it certainly can be a complement, an alternative, or it can actually become your mainstream solution. And part of the opportunity was to offset losses from store closures by moving towards on-demand as an e-commerce solution. We saw a lot of our customers who are in traditional brick and mortar retailing focusing more and more on their e-commerce sites due to the pandemic. And then rather than having to hold physical inventory, on-demand then became an even more viable solution for e-commerce, as now we can be having what we call virtual products, so designs on blanks that don't exist until they're ordered. And we saw a massive boom in that throughout 2020, and it's accelerated into 2021. And the other thing about on-demand is it's a sustainable solution. Consumers are becoming more driven by issues surrounding sustainability. By using on-demand, your production is closer to the consumer, normally onshore. Only bought products are made. So products have to travel less. So less greenhouse gases, less emissions, just more environmentally friendly. Sustainability is fast becoming part of a brand's corporate social responsibility. And the choices you make now will increasingly impact your public perception in the future. And also, if you utilize Kornit's direct-to-garment or direct-to-fabric, printing is the second largest, printing on fabric is the second largest pollution of water after the oil and gas industry. And with Kornit's direct-to-garment, direct-to-fabric solutions, as well as having eco inks, it's a zero water process. So by being on demand, we can have lots of benefits from sustainability. The other benefits of on-demand is we can now launch new, exclusive and seasonal products. We can test demand for new products. We can launch limited edition products like Amazon and Supreme's The Drop. And on-demand can still be used alongside traditional methods of manufacturing in bulk for basic lines that sell year-round. So it can be made flexible to you to add to your programs. And on-demand is also about design made simple. We can upload our design or image. We can then view it in 3D and approve it, and then we can buy it and it's printed on demand. And I'm going to show you a quick example of this in action. So here on my screen, you can see that it's a project we worked on a couple of weeks ago, and we have a beautiful fashion dress in 3D. We can be uploading our image or our stock art that we have. So we can create suddenly dozens of concepts or designs. Again, no stock, only printed when ordered. Or if we want, we can actually allow user-generated content. We can ask users to upload their own art or design from their social media, or they can even QR scan from a selfie or a mobile phone. But I'm just going to add a quick image from my library. And we can see here now that immediately I've created my own design. And this won't be ordered or won't exist until this is purchased. And again, as another alternative for the really designs, we can now, into our cut and sew on demand business, we can have our dress panelled out. And again, using the same process, which I'll demonstrate now. On the screen now, we can all become designers. So now I have 5 panels rather than all over product. I can choose my size, and then I can add my images onto the design again from the same processes. And I'll grab that same piece of art. And we can now play around with it. We can resize it. We can add the same image to the back if we want to. Okay, we can resize to match, or we can have it as a different size. And then if we didn't want to add images, we can just simply choose colors. So I'll try and get my designer in me to be a bit more similar. And we can match that as well. And then just for a bit of garishness, we'll stick on a more of a fluorescent collar. So these could be images or colors as well. I could add text. And now I can preview my design as it will render it together, and it'll put it on the model for me to see if I like what I've produced. So again, we can provide preset images, or we can ask our customers to become our designers as well. And then utilizing technology, we can now take our designs, our assets, our art, and we can apply them to a whole range of products now. So we can have a new collection literally created in minutes. Exploiting social media. Now, we've seen a massive increase in social media globally, but in terms of harnessing on-demand production, we can now meet rapid changes in demand. On-demand production enables you to cater for trends driven by social media, from cultural or sporting moments to events, holidays, even memes. And we can do this instantly. If something new comes up, we can take that design, we can apply it to our product range, and we can be selling it in minutes. And this was an amazing stat I read in an article 2 weeks ago, in that 75% of consumer decisions are driven and impacted by social media. Now, exploiting social media and on demand again, we can deal with these rapid changes. And again, whether it was a cultural or sporting moment or event, or an election, or a campaign, or someone winning, we can now be utilizing these moments in time for on-demand products and have these orders and these new designs ready to go same day. It really is quite incredible. And we can get creative with our assets. A lot of brands, licensors, retailers I speak to have a lot of assets that they don't utilize because they're used to buying stock. They're used to betting which ones will be the sellers. But now we can monetize our existing brand assets. We can create new products in minutes. And the existing designs we have can be added to the blank products. We can now have a far bigger range of our assets that are in our libraries on products that potentially can sell. Brands like yours can generate more revenue from existing assets without significant investment in product development. We take the blank products the manufacturer will make, we apply our assets. And all of a sudden, rather than having 20 or 30 SKUs, we can have hundreds of SKUs appealing to our customer and client base. And it becomes a risk-free solution. By using on demand, we have no stock risk. We're not holding inventory in our warehouses hoping we're going to sell it. So we don't have stagnant inventory that we can't shift. We don't have any sudden sales or loss of margin to clear unsold stock. On demand brings all these benefits. And I'm sure we've all seen in the press and the news about the problems that brands and retailers have with unsold stock. And in extreme cases, brands being known to burn unsold stock. And this also not just is a loss of margin and a loss of profit, it's undermining any sustainable initiatives the brand has in place. With on demand, you're able to harness virtual stock and only produce what you actually need when it's ordered and paid for. Instant gratification. And this is one of my favorite trends in the on-demand space. Consumers are now expecting products ordered online to be delivered next day or even same day. Amazon's changing the world we think about online shopping. By connecting with a network of suppliers who specialize in on-demand and can fulfill close to consumer, we can now meet the demand of instant gratification. I see a design, I want it now. I don't want to wait. And this really is a fantastic trend which has brands, retailers, licensors we can help enable. Now, the economic case for on-demand. I've seen many graphs and spreadsheets and analysis about how profit can be affected. But I want to tell a story. A few weeks ago, I was at a lunch and learn seminar with Kornit in Los Angeles. And I was having a good debate with a gentleman afterwards who came up to me and said, well, yeah, I've looked at this on demand, but, you know, I'm buying my product printed for about $2 from the Far East or Europe, I forget where it was. He said, but, you know, looking here, I'm paying $8 on demand or $9 on demand. And he said, so, you know, I'm losing $5, $6, $7, you know, if I went through this model. And I thought about it, and I said to him, well, how many products are you buying at a time? He said, well, normally 50 to 100,000 products I buy at a time. And I said, okay. And I said, so when do you have to pay? So, well, you have to pay up front. Okay, so even at $2 at 100,000 products, that's $200,000 of your cash that's out the business. He went, well, yeah, that's not great. I said, and how long do they take to come? He said, well, typically my suppliers are shipping within 6 to 8 weeks from the order. So your products are on a boat for 6 to 8 weeks, you can't sell them, and you have that cash out. And he's starting to think. And I said, when they come in, what are you doing? Do you have a warehouse? He said, well, of course. And he had, I don't know, 100,000 square feet or whatever. And then we have warehouse staffing. We have packers, we have pickers. And then the biggest question of all I said to him is, how much of the products you order do you actually sell? And he said, oh, we're pretty good. He said, we tend to be able to shift about 60 to 70% at the RRP we want to sell it at. I said, oh, so that means 30 or 40% isn't sold at the RRP. He said, well, no, we have to do fire sales every quarter to get rid of our stock. So now we're building up a pattern here. And I said, okay. So then we had to take that into account with the margins. But then the final question to me was, how many products don't you sell because you don't have stock? He said, well, that's my biggest challenge. So we never know what's going to sell. And, you know, it's very frustrating when we have potential orders for products we can't have. And this is actually a key point. A major brand representing some of the major fashion lines in the world actually said to me last week, he loses more money by having an empty shelf than he does by having a shelf he can't sell. So when we start to put into the equation all the issues with buying, suddenly on demand has very attractive propositions and it solves certain problems. And then the other main thing, an article I read just this morning, that $200,000, in this case was a fairly small order, but that money could be better used towards marketing, towards brand awareness, towards selling products you can produce on demand potentially. Now, I said earlier, this doesn't necessarily replace mass buying of products you know are going to sell, but it can eliminate risk and fringe items, and it can bring a lot more sustainable solutions, and it can make your dollars work harder in your business. And this success story I love, and it's just a great example of a company who've really harnessed on demand and being adaptive to their designs. Life is Good in early 2020 saw a massive spike in their e-commerce site. They realized that their optimistic messaging resonated with their customers. So Life is Good then were designing products and launching within 1 to 2 days, which sold instantly. They were able to quickly react to customer behavior and keep up with demand by using Kornit Digital on-demand technology, designed online, sold and printed. And this is just one successful week for Life is Good. Monday, they create new designs. Tuesday, they're developing a marketing campaign to launch all the new graphics. By Wednesday, new designs are live on their website and they're ready to print on demand. That evening, they're meeting at 10 p.m. to discuss which messages are resonating with their customers, what's selling. Thursday, the graphics team are working throughout the day and the night to match what's resonating and selling with their customers. And by Friday, there's another set of graphics live on their site and ready to print on demand using their Kornit printers. Really, it's just amazing. But don't just take it from me. All of this was possible because of our investment in Kornit. And that was from Tom Hassel, the Vice President of Life is Good. And he did a very fascinating presentation at the Kornit Virtual Fireside Chat in New York at the back end of last year. Really an amazing story. So I appreciate in the last sort of 18 minutes, I've fired through a lot there. I'm sure you have some questions. So before I wrap up my presentation, I want to open it to all of you to put some questions on. And I can see we have some already, so let me just have a look. And please feel free now to put your questions in the chat. Okay, so that's a really good question. So yes, we're part of Kornit and we have, sorry, the question is on demand just for textiles and fashion items? Well, while we are part of Kornit and obviously we have a high focus on direct to garment, direct to fabric textile printing, our global fulfillment network has a range of products that can be sold, from photo gifts to phone cases to bags. I mean, it's actually amazing what can be done online now on demand. And we actually have a network of amazing integrated suppliers who can be not just selling fashion items, but tech accessories, photo gifts, and even down to things like greetings cards, stationery. You know, the on-demand market is absolutely booming. And in all instances, the existing assets or designs you have can be applied to these designs. Okay, that's a really good question. So the question was about small run and on demand. And actually there's another question as well I've got relating to in-store and retail. Now, traditional printing or buying your products has to be in bulk. The beauty of digital printing, it initially revolutionized the market by having smaller runs. Now, you know, using our on-demand technology, you can be printing 20, 30, 40 or 50 t-shirts. It doesn't have to be one, but we obviously everything can be done from one. Now, looking at that same question to retail, we've now seen retailers using on-demand technology for a number of scenarios. One could be backfill. You're out of stock of big selling items. Utilizing on demand, that backfill can happen immediately rather than waiting 4, 5, 6 weeks to traditional supply chain. Also in retail, we see localization. So the Hard Rock Cafe is the best example of this. They've done it for years, but you can only buy the Hard Rock Cafe New York in New York. You can only buy the Hard Rock Cafe LA in LA. Now, utilizing on demand, you can get smaller runs for localization, which wouldn't justify buying them in larger runs. You can also be testing new products within your store as well. There's a couple of questions about costing of men's printed short sleeve tees. Again, that will vary on style, on quality, but you know, as an average, I'd say about $8 to be printing on demand for a reasonable quality shirt. Something co-branded might be more, and something not the highest quality might be less as well. There's a good question about what blank inventory do you use? Would I control the fabric, fit and quality of the blank? Again, with on demand, there's a couple of ways this can be addressed. In the USA, there are some massive wholesalers that exist out there that the printers will buy from. These wholesalers are storing billions of pounds of billions of dollars of blank inventory. Now, working with your on-demand decorator companies or using our fulfillment network, you can be selecting in advance the quality, the fabric, the style you want. And the printer partners will be stocking these blanks or buying them within same day from the wholesalers. And the wholesalers are very geared up for shipping within 24 hours, if not the same day. Now, some specific brands will want to be buying their own fabric or their own blanks. And again, the print fulfillment business around there will often they will stock your blanks in their warehouses, and then again they're only then printing the design that's bought once it's purchased. There really is a huge selection of off-the-shelf blanks that can be utilized, or you can be providing your own blanks as well. So a really good question. Do users actually design on your platform, or do they come with pre-designed assets for upload? That can again be both. You can provide your own preset art for users to choose. As I showed in my demo, you can allow users to update their own content. Or if you use some of our more complex design tools, users can design. What we've found in our experience, though, complex design tools can often confuse and scare a user. The simpler you create it for a user to upload their design or their photo or their art, the better it is. But you have the options using the technology to embed those links onto your e-commerce store and allow the users to create. So there's quite a few questions about a list of suppliers and products available. At the moment, off the top of my head, excluding our Kornit network, I think we have about 300 to 400 global suppliers connected to our global fulfillment network. Now Custom Gateways are part of the Kornit family. We have there hundreds of customers around the world we can connect to. Someone's asking to get lists of suppliers and products available. Absolutely, we can follow up with you afterwards. You can look online on our website, and we can really help there as well. Someone said main regions. Obviously, we're very well serviced in the US, the UK, Europe, APAC, Australia, and now we've got good suppliers coming on board in Latin America, and probably Africa's the smallest network at the moment, but really in the main markets of LATAM, Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific, there's excellent suppliers. And that actually leads on to another question. If you have an e-commerce store you're selling globally, again, you can use technology to route that order to the local fulfiller in country. So again, we're producing locally, it's reducing our lead times, it's reducing our shipping costs. So our technology can actually route orders, and we have a whole rules-based system around that. But if I look at some of our most successful global fulfillment partners, they have fulfillment all over the world, and they are fulfilling locally where they can. Okay, got loads of questions coming here now. Yeah, I think I've answered this one. How many suppliers do we have in the UK specifically? So welcome to a fellow Brit who I assume is answering that, even though I'm on the West Coast here. We have dozens. I'll happily put you in contact with my UK colleagues to make introductions. Okay, more question about the types of inventory. The global fulfillment network will have access to, I mean, I can think of one wholesaler with 6,000 different styles in their range. So again, we can work with these print partners and there'll be a huge range. I mean, we're asked about menswear, women's wear, kids, babies. Thank you for the question. And yes, we can service all of that with lots of choice. Question about shipping. Again, working with the print provider, you can actually dictate the shipping you want to work. Now, as the on-demand capabilities improve of these factories, the aim is to be shipping within 24 hours. And our aim for our global fulfillment network is for that. At the moment, it may be 2 or 3 days, but it's fast ship. And you work with the individual carrier. They could use your account or they could use their own account. And then what you want to match is whatever shipping you're offering on your website is being matched by the print provider. Again, you will always have the commercial relationship with the print partners. You know, you're agreeing the price of the blank and the print and the shipping with them as well. A question to enlighten more about Kornit. So very quickly, Kornit is the market leader in and the OEM of direct-to-garment and direct-to-fabric machines. And these are high-end, industrial, best-in-class quality machines. Kornit sell these systems to print shops and fulfillment shops throughout the world. And I think they must have over 1,000 global customers now of these high-end digital machines. The Kornit systems are a single-pass printing system. They're eco-friendly inks, they're zero water usage. Now, the Kornit fulfillers on the network own these systems, and then they are printing best-in-class digital print. And we can follow up with you a lot more about the Kornit offering as well. There's a question about returns and cancellations. Now, this is where on-demand is really interesting, because if you move into personalization, I've seen a lot of brands and retailers now not allowing returns for personalization. If you put your name on it, you've now made your own exclusive product. In terms of on-demand, if there was to be a quality issue, then the printer will typically replace that and reship. But often by holding on demand, you can have the returns come to yourself or back to the factory where they can be put back into stock. But the beauty of on demand, though, is we can be eliminating this because people are buying what they want and what they've ordered. Another question about UK suppliers. I think I've answered that, and we'll reach out to you afterwards to make you some connections. Someone's asking about care labels and branded hang tags. Absolutely. And the custom gateway technology has that as a key part of our workflow, which our suppliers use. So we have what we call a branding station, where you can add in your branded hang tags. And some of the manufacturers, if volume dictates, you can have your own care labels that can be torn off care labels as well. So absolutely, we're not losing that. And actually, even further, the Kornit printing technology allows for a single pass, not just of the front print, but a neck label as well. And I've seen some amazing uses of that for especially licensors with their assets. And that neck label can be really clever. It can have a QR code inside of it printed. So actually the QR code can be scanned, and it could either have, you know, your country of origin or, you know, washing information or whatever, or it can actually be a link to your website, you know, as a bit of mega marketing as well. Yeah, talk about verification verification with suppliers. Anyone using the Kornit printing systems have best-in-class technology for digital. And then by using the software, we can be sending the print file with the recipe in, so they have to print. And all suppliers on the network have to sign up to certain service standards, quality control, and things like that as well. A lot of brands and licensors want to vet their own suppliers for their own QA reasons. Yeah, there's good checking it goes through there as well. Actually, someone's helped me answer a question. Thank you for that. And just an observation here by a large customer who's got some wonderful license assets that they represent. And they're making a statement here that our returns have been a lot lower from print on demand than import due to exhaustive product detail on the items page, and the suppliers are more advanced to pick and pack versus traditional B2B, even for their largest asset, which is non-personalized. So thank you for that. And that's another pint of Guinness I owe you, sir. Thank you for this last question. Great presentation, great answer to your questions. How do we sign up? That's the best question I've had all day. Thank you, and I'll make sure we're in touch afterwards to show you how. In terms of cost for using services and how we build, now you will pay the decorator directly for the blanks and the printed, and these can be on account, paid for immediately. Custom gateway service for a software as a service model with transaction fees. So you're only paying for what you use. And again, we can be in touch further to talk about it a bit more. And thank you for the kind comment on a great presentation. Okay, I want to get through all the questions. We're wrapping up. Let me get back to the presentation just to wrap up. The end-to-end journey of on-demand excites me. We're passionate about it, as you can tell. Our software specifically starts off with a design piece. We sell it, we create the artwork, we send it through to print, and it's shipped. We have a whole end-to-end process for brands and retailers to adopt this model. And it'll be our pleasure to talk to all of you further about it. Please email us at info@custom-gateway.com, or there's a lot of information on our website, custom-gateway.com. And we will follow up with all of you with the information we've talked about today. And we will obviously share the full webinar recording with everybody, and we'll share a downloadable PDF slide deck. And to practice what we preach, the first 50 US registrants, that you're all going to receive your own print-on-demand T-shirt and personalised. And you'll be contacted by our sales team too, so we can get your state and we can practice what we preach. And again, these were printed on our Kornit machines. So thank you again. Apologies, we've got a couple of minutes over time. It really was a great Q&A. Happy Friday, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend.